I'm 94 years old. I've been working since I was 6 years old. And I have never had a side hustle. Not because I didn't need money, not because I lacked ambition, not because I was lazy. Because side hustles are a trap that keeps you poor while making you feel productive. People today think you need 3 income streams to get ahead: a day job plus a side hustle plus investments. They're working 80 hours a week across multiple ventures, spreading themselves thin, never becoming excellent at anything. That is nonsense. That is how you stay mediocre forever. I worked one job. I became the best in the world at it. That single focus made me $150 billion. Meanwhile, people with 5 side hustles are still broke at 50, wondering why hustling didn't make them rich. Here's what nobody wants to hear. Side hustles are for people who are bad at their main job. If you were truly excellent at one thing, you wouldn't need 5 mediocre income streams. You'd have one exceptional income stream. That makes side hustles irrelevant. I'm going to show you the 5 reasons side hustles destroy wealth instead of building it. Reasons that explain why every wealthy person I know became wealthy by focusing on one thing, not by juggling 5 things poorly. Hit the like button if you're ready to understand why focus beats hustle. I only share this with people willing to hear that working harder isn't the same as working smarter. Before we get into this, do me a favor. Drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from. I want to know who's here. City, state, country, just let me know. Here's why smart people work 80-hour weeks across multiple jobs and stay broke. Most people think more income streams equals more security and more wealth. That logic is backward. More income streams means more complexity, more mediocrity, and less time to compound actual wealth. You're so busy juggling that you never become excellent at anything, and excellence is what creates wealth, not activity. The truth is simple, but nobody follows it. Pick one thing. Become the best in the world at it. Charge accordingly. Invest the surplus. That's how you get rich. Not by driving Uber after your accounting job while running a dropshipping store on weekends. You don't need to be smarter than me to avoid the side hustle trap. You just need to understand the difference between being busy and being valuable. Busy people have side hustles. Valuable people don't need them. I'll show you the 5 reasons side hustles destroy wealth. Reasons proven by every wealthy person you've ever studied. The first reason destroys most people's potential. Let's start. Reason number 1, side hustles prevent excellence. The problem with side hustles is simple. You can't become world-class at anything if you're dividing attention across multiple things. Excellence requires focused, deliberate practice over years or decades. It requires obsessing over one craft until you've mastered every nuance. It requires 10,000 hours minimum, often 20,000 or 30,000 hours. When you have a side hustle, you're splitting those hours. You're mediocre at your main job because you're tired from your side hustle. You're mediocre at your side hustle because you're tired from your main job. You never achieve excellence at either, and mediocrity doesn't pay. Excellence does. The problem with divided attention is that skill development is non-linear. Going from competent to excellent in a field doesn't take twice the effort. It takes 10 times the effort. And the payoff isn't twice as much. It's 100 times as much. The top 1% in any field earn exponentially more than the top 20%. But getting from the top 20% to the top 1% requires total focus over years. If you're splitting your time on side hustles, you'll never make that jump. Here's the second problem. Employers and clients pay for excellence, not effort. They don't care that you're hustling. They care about results. And results come from people who are so focused on their craft that they see things others miss. Let me tell you about a man I knew. I'll call him David, software engineer in San Francisco, age 28 in 2018, made $130,000 at his day job. Good salary. But David read about side hustles, about building multiple income streams, about not relying on one source of income. So he started a side hustle. Evenings and weekends, David built websites for small businesses, charged $3,000 to $5,000 per site, made an extra $30,000 per year working 15 hours per week on the side. On paper, David was hustling. $130,000 salary plus $30,000 side income equals $160,000 total. He felt productive, felt like he was building wealth. But here's what actually happened. David's performance at his day job declined. He was tired, distracted, couldn't focus deeply on complex problems. His code quality dropped. He stopped innovating. He became average. His peers at work, the ones focused 100% on their craft, were getting promoted. They were becoming senior engineers, then staff engineers, then principal engineers. Their salaries went from $130,000 to $200,000 to $300,000 to $500,000 over 8 years. David stayed at $130,000 for 4 years because his performance was average. Eventually got promoted to senior engineer at $165,000. But by then, his focused peers were making $300,000 plus. By 2026, age 36, David is making $180,000 at his day job, plus maybe $35,000 from his side hustle. Total, $215,000. His peer who focused entirely on becoming an exceptional engineer, making $450,000 at a top tech company. No side hustle needed. Here's the arithmetic of David's mistake. He spent 15 hours per week for 8 years on his side hustle. That's 6,240 hours. If he'd spent those 6,240 hours becoming exceptional at his main job, learning advanced systems, building innovative projects, networking with top engineers, he'd have reached principal engineer level making $450,000 plus. Instead, he made an extra $30,000 per year from his side hustle. Over 8 years, that's $240,000 in side income. But he gave up $270,000 plus in salary growth at his main job. Net loss, $30,000, plus 8 years of exhaustion. The side hustle cost him money while making him feel productive. That's the trap. Let me show you the math on focus versus hustle. Path A, side hustle. Start at $130,000 salary. Spend 15 hours per week on side hustle, earning $30,000 per year. Mediocre performance at main job means salary grows slowly. $130,000 to $145,000 to $165,000 to $180,000 over 8 years. Side income stays flat at $30,000 per year. Year 8, total income, $210,000. Total earned over 8 years, $1,320,000. Main job, plus $240,000. Side hustle equals $1,560,000. Path B, focus, Start at $130,000 salary. Spend those 15 side hustle hours becoming exceptional at main job. Excel at work. Get promoted aggressively. $130,000 to $165,000 to $220,000 to $300,000 to $450,000 over 8 years. No side hustle. Year 8 income, $450,000. Total earned over 8 years, $1,980,000 main job plus $0 side hustle equals $1,980,000. Path B earned $420,000 more over 8 years by focusing instead of hustling. And that's just the money. Path B also has better career trajectory, more energy, better health, and more time with family. But it gets worse for the side hustler. That $450,000 salary continues growing. Principal engineers can make $600,000 to $800,000 at top companies. The focused person's year 15 income might be $700,000. The side hustler probably still making $200,000 to $250,000 because they never became excellent. They spent 15 years being mediocre at 2 things instead of exceptional at 1. Let me tell you what I did. From age 20 to 30, I did one thing: analyze businesses and buy stocks. That's it. Not one day job and one side hustle, one thing. Total focus. I read annual reports for 10 to 12 hours per day. I visited companies. I talked to management. I became obsessed with understanding what made businesses valuable. By age 30, I was one of the best investors in the world, not because I was brilliant, because I focused for 10 years straight while everyone else was diversifying their attention. That focus created compound returns. First financial, then social. People wanted to invest with me because I was excellent. Money poured in, opportunities appeared. My income went from $12,000 at age 20 to $1 million by age 35. If I'd spent those years running a side hustle, say selling insurance or doing accounting work on weekends, I'd have made maybe an extra $5,000 per year. But I'd have never become excellent at investing. I'd be a mediocre investor with a small side income instead of one of the best investors in the world. That's the cost of divided attention. You trade excellence for activity. And activity doesn't compound. Excellence does. Excellence is exponentially rewarded. Mediocrity is linearly rewarded. Side hustles keep you mediocre at multiple things instead of excellent at one thing. The person making $450,000 in one focused career earns more than the person making $180,000 in their main job plus $30,000 from a side hustle. And the focused person has more time, more energy, and a better trajectory. But even if you could maintain excellence while side hustling, you'd still lose wealth. Because of reason number 2. Reason number 2. Side hustles destroy compounding time. The most expensive thing about side hustles isn't the opportunity cost at work. It's the opportunity cost of investing time. Every hour you spend on a side hustle is an hour you're not spending learning to invest, analyzing opportunities, or building investment knowledge. Those hours compound over decades into millions or tens of millions in lost wealth. The problem with side hustles is that they create active income when you should be building passive income. Active income requires your time. Passive income compounds while you sleep. Wealthy people understand this. They minimize time spent on active income and maximize time spent building assets that compound. Side hustlers do the opposite. They maximize time on active income and never build compounding assets. Here's the second problem. Side hustles consume the exact hours when you should be learning about investing. Evenings and weekends are when you have mental energy to study businesses, read annual reports, understand markets. If you're driving Uber during those hours, you're trading learning time for small dollars. Let me tell you about two friends. Both started at age 25 in 2010, making $50,000 per year. Friend A, let's call him Tom, started a side hustle. He drove for Uber and delivered food on weekends, made an extra $15,000 per year, worked 50 hours per week total, 40 at his day job, 10 on side hustles. Friend B, let's call him Sarah, had no side hustle. She worked 40 hours at her day job. The extra 10 hours per week that Tom spent side hustling, Sarah spent learning about investing. She read books, studied businesses, practiced analyzing stocks. Both saved $15,000 per year. Same savings rate, different use of time. Tom invested his $15,000 annually into index funds, set it and forgot it. Never learned anything about investing beyond buy the S&P 500. After 15 years, 2010 to 2025, his $225,000 in contributions grew to $430,000 at 10% annual returns. Sarah also invested $15,000 annually, but she spent those 10 hours per week learning to invest. Over 15 years, that's 7,800 hours of investment education. She learned to identify undervalued stocks. She learned to read financial statements. She learned to think like an investor. Her investment returns? 14% annually instead of 10%. Not because she was smarter, because she invested time in learning instead of driving Uber. After 15 years, Sarah's $225,000 in contributions grew to $620,000 at 14% annual returns. Same contributions, same time period. Sarah has $190,000 more wealth because she invested time in learning instead of hustling for an extra $15,000 per year in active income. But it gets better. Tom is 40 years old, making $70,000 at his job, plus $15,000 from side hustles. Total, $85,000. He'll probably work until 65. Sarah is 40 years old, making $90,000 at her job. She focused on excellence, so she got promoted faster, plus $30,000 per year in dividend income from her investments. Total, $120,000. And her investments are compounding. By 50, she'll have $2 million. She can retire if she wants. Tom will have $900,000 by 50. Not enough to retire. He'll keep driving Uber into his 60s. Let me show you the math on time investment. Scenario A, side hustle. 10 hours per week on side hustle equals 520 hours per year. Earns $15,000 per year from side hustle. Invests in index funds, earning 10% annually. After 20 years, $945,000. Scenario B, learning to invest 10 hours per week. Learning investing equals 520 hours per year. No extra income from side hustle. Invests same amount as scenario A, but earns 13% annually from better investing. After 20 years, $1,350,000. The difference? $400,000, $5,000 over 20 years. The person who invested time in learning made $405,000 more than the person who invested time in active income. But the real difference is trajectory. The person who learned to invest will continue earning 13% for the rest of their life. The side hustler will keep earning 10%. Over 40 years, that difference is over $2 million. That's the cost of side hustles. You trade learning time for active income, and over decades, learning compounds into millions while active income stays linear. From age 20 to 30, I spent every spare hour learning to invest. I didn't have side hustles. I had one job during the day, and I spent my evenings and weekends reading about businesses. That 10 years of focused learning created 70 years of compounding returns. The investment skills I built in my 20s are still making me money today at age 94. My side hustling peers from the 1950s, they made a few extra $1,000 per year in active income. Then they retired with nothing. That's the difference. Learning compounds forever. Side hustles stop when you stop working. Time is your most valuable asset. You can invest it in active income or in learning to build passive income. Active income is linear. Passive income compounds exponentially. Side hustles convert your most valuable asset, time, into small amounts of active income. That's expensive. You should be investing that time in learning to build assets that compound. But even if side hustles didn't destroy learning time, they'd still make you poor. Because of reason number 3. Reason number 3. Side hustles signal low value. Here's what nobody talks about. Having a side hustle signals to employers, clients, and the market that you're not valuable enough at your main thing. If a surgeon needs to drive Uber on weekends, what does that tell you about his skills as a surgeon? If a consultant needs to sell essential oils as a side hustle, what does that tell you about her consulting abilities? It signals, I'm not good enough at my primary profession to earn what I need. And that signal is expensive. The problem with side hustles is that they undermine your primary value proposition. When you tell your employer you have a side hustle, you're telling them, I'm not fully committed to being excellent at what you pay me to do. Employers don't promote people with side hustles. They promote people who are obsessed with their craft, who work late occasionally not because they have to, but because they're genuinely interested, who think about problems in the shower, on weekends, during walks. You can't do that if you're running a drop-shipping business on the side. Your attention is divided. Your signal is, this job is just one income stream among many. That's not how you become the highest paid person in your field. Let me tell you about a lawyer I knew. Started at a prestigious firm in 2015, making $180,000. Brilliant guy, top law school, but he had law school debt and lifestyle expenses. So he started a side hustle coaching other lawyers on how to pass the bar exam. Made an extra $30,000 per year. He mentioned it casually to partners at the firm, thought it showed entrepreneurship. They smiled and nodded. But here's what actually happened. When promotion time came, he got passed over. The partners promoted someone else, someone making less money, but who was fully committed to the firm. The partners thinking, if he's coaching other lawyers on weekends, he's not fully committed to being the best lawyer here. We promote people who are obsessed with client work, not people building side businesses. The lawyer didn't understand. He worked hard. He delivered results. But the signal was wrong. The side hustle communicated, "I'm not fully invested in being excellent here." He left the firm in frustration, went to another firm. Same pattern repeated. He's 38 now, making $240,000 at a mid-tier firm. Still has his coaching side hustle, making $40,000. Total, $280,000. His peer from the original firm, the one who got promoted, is now a partner, making $800,000 per year. No side hustle, just total focus on being an exceptional lawyer. The side hustle cost him $500,000 per year in potential earnings. Yeah, because it signaled, "I'm not committed to excellence here. I'm just collecting a paycheck while building other things." Let me show you the math on signaling. Person A has side hustle. Employer thinks, not fully committed. Gets passed over for promotion twice. Salary grows slowly. $180,000 to $200,000 to $220,000 to $240,000 over 8 years, plus $40,000 side income. Year 8, total $280,000. Person B, no side hustle. Employer thinks, fully committed to excellence. Gets promoted on schedule. Salary grows fast. $180,000 to $230,000 to $320,000 to $500,000 to $800,000. No side income. Year 8, total $800,000. The person without the side hustle makes 2.8 times more because they signaled commitment. That signal was worth $520,000 per year. But it compounds. Partners at law firms can make $2 to $5 million per year. The person who signaled commitment early has a path to those earnings. The side hustler doesn't. They're permanently labeled as not fully committed. That's the cost of the wrong signal. You trade long-term earning potential for short-term side income, and the long-term cost is 10 to 50 times the short-term gain. I never had a side hustle. From age 20 to 94, I did one thing: invest. That's it. When people wanted me to manage their money, they knew I was 100% focused on being the best investor in the world. I wasn't distracted by side projects. I wasn't building other businesses. I was obsessed with one thing. That signal, total commitment to one craft, created trust. Money poured in. Opportunities appeared. People knew Warren only does one thing. He's all in on being an excellent investor. If I'd had a side hustle, say running a small accounting practice or selling insurance, would people have trusted me with their life savings? No. The side hustle would have signaled, investing is just one thing I do among many. That's the cost of the wrong signal. You undermine your primary value by suggesting you're not fully committed to it. Signals matter. Having a side hustle signals, I'm not valuable enough at my main thing to earn what I need. That signal is expensive. It costs you promotions, opportunities, and trust. Successful people signal total commitment to one craft. That signal creates opportunities worth 10 times any side income. But even if signals didn't matter, side hustles would still destroy wealth. Because of reason number 4. Reason number 4. Side hustles prevent geographic and career flexibility. The problem with side hustles is they lock you into your current location and situation. If you have 3 income streams, day job, side hustle, local clients, you can't move for a better opportunity. You're trapped. Meanwhile, people who focused on becoming excellent at one thing can relocate for a 2 times salary increase. They can switch companies for equity. that becomes millions. They have flexibility that side hustlers lack. And flexibility is where fortunes are made. The problem with multiple income streams is they create dependencies. Your side hustle depends on local clients. Your main job depends on staying in your current city. You can't uproot easily. When a life-changing opportunity appears in another city, a job paying double your salary or a chance to join a startup with equity, you can't take it. Your side hustle would die. Your local network would vanish. You're stuck. People who focused on one portable skill, they can go anywhere. They're not tied to local clients or side businesses. When opportunity knocks, they answer. And those career moves are worth millions. Let me tell you about a woman named Rachel, marketing manager in Atlanta, making $85,000 in 2018. She had a side hustle, event, planning for local businesses, made an extra $25,000 per year. Total income, $110,000. Not bad. She felt secure with 2 income streams. Then in 2020, she got an offer. Tech company in San Francisco wanted her for a senior marketing role. Salary, $180,000 plus $200,000 in stock options over 4 years. Total compensation, $230,000 per year. But she couldn't take it. Her event planning business was in Atlanta. She had 15 local clients depending on her. If she moved to San Francisco, she'd lose the side hustle income. The salary increase wasn't enough to offset losing $25,000 per year. So she stayed in Atlanta, kept her $85,000 job plus $25,000 side hustle. Played it safe. Her coworker, same role, same salary, had no side hustle, just focused on being excellent at marketing. When the San Francisco offer came, he took it immediately. No dependencies, no complications. By 2024, Rachel is making $95,000 plus $28,000 side income. Total $123,000. Her former coworker, he's making $250,000 in base salary plus his stock options vested. The company went public. His options are worth $1.2 million. His total compensation over 4 years, over $1.8 million. Rachel's total compensation over 4 years, $460,000. The side hustle cost her $1.3 million because it prevented her from taking the life-changing opportunity. She was locked in by dependency she created trying to build multiple income streams. Let me show you the math on flexibility. Person A with side hustle. Main job, $85,000. Side hustle, $25,000. Total, $110,000. Can't relocate for better opportunities, would lose side hustle. Stays in current role for 10 years. Salary grows slowly, $85,000 to $105,000. Side hustle grows slowly, $25,000 to $32,000. Year 10 total, $137,000. 10-year earnings, $1,250,000. Person B without side hustle. Main job, $85,000, no side hustle. Total, $85,000, less than person A initially. Can relocate for any opportunity. Moves to better role in year 2, $180,000 base. Plus equity. Gets promoted in year 5, $250,000 plus more equity. Year 10 total, $350,000 cash plus equity worth $800,000. 10-year earnings, $2,800,000. Person B earned $1,550,000 more over 10 years by having the flexibility to pursue opportunities. The side hustle cost person A $1.5 million by locking them in place. I moved for opportunities. In 1956, I moved back to Omaha from New York. People thought I was crazy. Why leave Wall Street? Because I saw an opportunity in Omaha that was worth more than any Wall Street job. If I'd had dependencies, side businesses, local clients, multiple income streams, I couldn't have moved. But I had one portable skill: investing. I could do it anywhere. That move led to starting my partnership, which led to buying Berkshire Hathaway, which led to $150 billion in wealth. If I'd been locked in place by side hustles, none of that happens. The side income would have cost me billions. Flexibility is invaluable. The ability to move for opportunities, switch careers, or join startups creates more wealth than any side hustle ever will. Side hustles destroy flexibility. They lock you into your current location and situation, and being locked in place costs millions when life-changing opportunities appear. But there's one final reason side hustles destroy wealth, and this one is psychological. Reason number 5. Side hustles create the illusion of progress. The most insidious thing about side hustles: they make you feel productive while keeping you poor. You're hustling. You're working 60 to 80 hours per week. You have multiple income streams. You feel like you're building wealth. Meanwhile, you're exhausted, mediocre at everything, and going nowhere. The side hustle creates the illusion of progress. You're busy. You're making money. But you're not building anything that compounds. You're running on a treadmill at increasing speed while focused people pass you by, doing one thing exceptionally well. The problem with side hustles is they're psychologically satisfying in the short term, but financially destructive in the long term. Every month, you see income from multiple sources. That feels good, feels secure, feels like progress. But it's not progress. Progress is becoming more valuable over time. Side hustles keep you equally valuable or less valuable. While draining energy and time, you should be investing in excellence. The illusion of progress prevents you from making real progress. You think you're building wealth, so you don't change course. Meanwhile, years pass and you're no closer to financial independence than when you started. Let me tell you about a man named Marcus, age 30 in 2015. Corporate job making $65,000. Started a side hustle selling on Amazon FBA, then added another side hustle doing freelance graphic design. Then started an Etsy store. By 2018, he had 3 side hustles plus his day job. Total income, $98,000. He felt successful. Multiple income streams. That's how you build wealth. But here's what actually happened. He was working 70 hours per week, exhausted constantly. Mediocre at his day job because he was tired and distracted. Mediocre at his 3 side hustles because he couldn't focus on any of them. His day job salary stayed flat at $65,000 for 5 years because his performance was average. His side hustles collectively made $25,000 to $35,000 per year. But that income was inconsistent and required constant active management. By 2023, age 38, Marcus was making $72,000 at his day job plus maybe $30,000 from side hustles. Total, $102,000. In 8 years, his income grew $4,000. His peer from 2015 Same starting salary, no side hustles, focused entirely on becoming exceptional at his craft. Got promoted twice. By 2023, making $145,000. No side hustles, no 70-hour weeks, just excellence in one domain. Marcus felt like he was hustling and building wealth. The reality? He was standing still while his focused peer passed him by. The side hustles created the illusion of progress while preventing real progress. Let me show you the math on real versus illusory progress. Illusory progress. Side hustle path. Year 1, $65,000 plus $20,000. Side income equals $85,000 total. Year 5, $68,000 plus $28,000. Side income equals $96,000 total. Year 10, $75,000 plus $35,000 side income equals $110,000 total. Growth, $25,000 over 10 years, 29% total growth, 2.6% annually. Feels like progress because multiple income streams exist. Real progress. Focus path. Year 1, $65,000 main job equals $65,000 total. Year 5, $95,000 main job equals $95,000 total. Year 10, $150,000 main job equals $150,000 total. Growth, $85,000 over 10 years, 131% total growth, 8.7% annually, actual progress, because primary skill compounds. The side hustler feels productive because they're building multiple income streams. The focused person is actually building wealth because their primary skill is compounding. After 20 years, the gap is enormous. Side hustler might be making $140,000 total, $90,000 job plus $50,000 side income. Focused person is making $300,000 plus in one job because they became exceptional. I never felt productive because I was busy. I felt productive when my investment returns improved, when I got better at analyzing businesses, when I made fewer mistakes. Some years, I worked fewer hours than the year before, but my results improved because I was more focused, not more active. Activity doesn't create wealth. Skill compounded over time creates wealth. If I judged progress by activity level, I'd have added side hustles to feel more productive. Instead, I judged progress by skill development and investment returns. That led to $150 billion. Side hustles create the illusion of progress through activity and multiple income streams. Real progress comes from skill development in one domain over years or decades. Busy doesn't mean productive. Multiple income streams don't mean wealth. The only measure that matters is, are you becoming more valuable over time? Side hustles usually mean the answer is no. I learned these principles from Benjamin Graham. He taught me one lesson that changed my life. Success in investing doesn't require genius or multiple strategies. It requires focusing on one simple approach and becoming excellent at it. Graham did one thing: value investing. He didn't have side hustles, didn't diversify his attention, just focused on being the best value investor in the world for 40 years. That focus created compounding returns, financial returns from his investments, reputational returns that made him famous, social returns that attracted talented students like me. If Graham had spent his evenings running a side business or consulting practice, he wouldn't have had time to become the father of value investing. His side income might have been $10,000 per year. His legacy from focus? Priceless. That's the trade-off. Small short-term gains from side hustles versus massive long-term gains from focus. Most people choose the former. The wealthy choose the latter. Let me make this simple. Here are the 5 reasons side hustles destroy wealth. 1. Side hustles prevent excellence. You can't become world-class at anything with divided attention. Excellence pays exponentially. Mediocrity across multiple hustles pays linearly. 2. Side hustles destroy compounding time. Every hour on a side hustle is an hour not spent learning to invest or build assets. That learning compounds into millions over decades. 3. Side hustles signal low value. Having a side hustle tells employers and the market, "I'm not valuable enough at my main thing." That signal costs you promotions worth hundreds of thousands. 4. Side hustles prevent flexibility. Multiple local income streams lock you in place. You can't relocate for 2 times salary increases or join startups with life-changing equity. 5. Side hustles create illusion of progress. You feel productive because you're busy and have multiple income streams. Meanwhile, you're standing still while focused people pass you by. These aren't theories. These are patterns I've observed in every wealthy person I've known over 94 years. The wealthy focus. The poor hustle. Here's your challenge. If you have a side hustle, ask yourself honestly, is this making me more valuable in my primary field? Or is it preventing me from becoming excellent? Calculate the opportunity cost. What would happen if you invested those side hustle hours in becoming the best in the world at your main profession? What would your salary be in 5 years, 10 years? Then calculate the side hustle income over the same period. Which number is bigger? For most people, the focused path is worth 3 to 10 times more over a decade, but the side hustle feels more secure because it's tangible income today. I'm 94 years old. I've made $150 billion doing one thing, investing. I've watched thousands of people hustle themselves into exhaustion and mediocrity with multiple income streams. None of them got rich. The formula is simple. Pick one thing. Become the best in the world at it. Focus completely for 10 to 20 years. Invest the surplus. That's how you build wealth. Not by driving Uber after your day job. Your choice is simple. Focus on one thing and become exceptional, or hustle across multiple things and stay mediocre forever. One path leads to wealth and freedom. One leads to exhaustion and disappointment. I know which one I chose. Do you? Now, if you want more brutal honesty about building wealth, timeless principles that actually work instead of trendy hustle culture garbage, subscribe to this channel. We don't promise easy. We don't promise fast. We promise truth. And the truth is that focus beats hustle every single time. Whether you listen is your choice.